Yeah, and you just have to let me go click and say that you're okay with that. We've got the lovely Debbie, but we can't see her face yet.
No.
Excellent. All right. Well, we've got Bob is indiscreet. He's
so that's Mim.
Oh, that's Mim. Bob. Oh, you've got a very high voice, Bob. Hi, Mim. How are you?
Good.
Hopefully, I've let everybody in. This is recording now. So hopefully everyone can see me and you can hear me, and I'm going to welcome you to the Colourplay. You are now my Colourplay creatives, and I'm very excited to see some regular faces who have produced some amazing works for me. So I'm hoping that they can get everyone out there feeling excited too. Not too scary. It's going to be a great trip. I've been out there and I've done a recce, so I've made sure that everybody's food is catered for, and that it should all be really, really comfortable. So this meeting is really just for me to run through how it's going to work, and talk a little bit about materials and help keep everyone excited and calm about the process. Okay, it's all about this thing that's not going to be very helpful to us, but hopefully we can create lots of great fun and paintings. I know that there's a number of people that might not have painted for a while because we haven't been out much, have we? You know, only the art societies have now just opened up, and we're all coming from different places, so that's really great. So one of the things that I really like to encourage people to do is, like, it's me teaching, but also if you want to discuss your ideas as you're working them or what's not working for you with the other people in the group, then that's how we learn, isn't it? That's how we get on with it. So just to let you know, I think I've got most people in here. Just to let you know, we have 13 in the group now. We got a ring in at the end, which is great. There is plenty of space. I can't tell you how much space there is, and that's not just talking about the country. You all have your own rooms with an ensuite, and in our studio space, it's like an auditorium. So by all means, go big, okay? Go big. You can go and find another paddock if you really want. Okay, so there's plenty of space for you to go there. Now I'm going to just go through our list. So, and also butt in if there's something that you want to know about what I'm talking about, okay? So first of all, getting there. It's about a 3-hour trip from Sydney. If you're coming from Sydney, there's a few people that are not coming from Sydney. I know Karen's not in there, but she's coming from Parks. But everyone knows, look, there's good pit stops. You can, if you are looking for a way to, you know, stop off the Blue Mountains up that area, is always a really good way. But the first stop that we're going to have on the Friday is at the Bathurst Art Gallery. I will be in the next week sending you a how to get there thing if Siri doesn't work for you. But you are going to the Bathurst Art Gallery, in which we're going to get a talk of the latest exhibition there. And that's just to inspire you. With all your artworks, you can't just think of ideas sitting by yourself in your room. It doesn't work like that. We need to be exposed to things so that we can generate ideas, or it might trigger something for us. So we will be at the gallery, and I've got you booked in from 11 to 12. We're going to do a little bit of someone's going to give me a talk there. Hopefully we'll get to meet the organizer there. Unfortunately, they did have their collection is moving to a really big storage space, but it's going to be a great exhibition that's there anyway, so that's okay. So I might suggest to you, if you get there at like 10:30 and grab a coffee, there's parking on the street just out the front, and there's bathrooms, okay, because that's very important. So if you want to get there at about 10:30, but I've got you booked in to 11 to 12 there. And then we are going on our way out to Perthville. So for people who don't know really where Perthville is, as you're heading on into Bathurst, there's a sign that, you know, Siri will tell you to turn off, and it's basically 10 minutes out of Bathurst. So we're turning to the left. Again, I'm going to give you little steps on how to get there, but you can follow us all right, because we're going from the gallery out there. I've got you booked in to go to the pub. We're going to the pub for lunch, okay? And the bonus of the pub for lunch is it's actually about 300 metres away from where we're staying, and it's got a little brook or depending on the river, you know, it could be a whole river, depending on what, you know, how the rain's going. I've checked in, and that's going to be where you're going to have lunch and feel comfortable there. That's going to be your main meal of the day, because they're like, you know, pub food, they're like super big. Anyway, so we're having lunch there, and then we will check in into the accommodation. All the accommodation is all on one level. You can drive up to the doorway, and there's plenty of parking, and depending on where your room will be, you can park around the back or around the front, and you can leave your car there the whole time. There's nowhere apart from once you kind of check in that you need to drive. Okay, it's all on site, and we have a big studio space, this auditorium, which is super ridiculous. Like, no one will want to go back and paint in their room after that. And then we're there for the weekend. So yes, I've told you, you've all got your own bedrooms. There's a kitchen. We have a chef on board, and she's making all the food. The breakfast is buffet, serve yourself. Lunch is organized. We have morning and afternoon tea. You guys are not going to get hungry, okay? And then we've got dinner, and the kitchen is near your rooms, and the studio is in another building, just so it's separate for, you know, smells and things like that. Are we all good so far with what's going on? We're good. Give me some thumbs up. Yeah. All right. Clothes. We're not going fine dining, guys. If you wear your paint clothes for the whole weekend, that's absolutely great. All right. There's no dressing for dinner. There's just wear your paint gear, your apron or your overalls or whatever you have. The only people that are there, we have the place to ourselves. It actually holds up to 300 people, this place, but it's our place for the weekend. I thought there was other people there, but no, we're running the joint. So no one's going to see you but us. And, you know, we want to look arty. So even if you tip a bit of paint on, you know, look like you're creating. And just shoes that are comfortable, because I will like stick you in the garden and things like that. So, you know, don't wear your Diamante high heels. That'll be fine. So I've talked about food. Other thing is bring your own wine, okay? I'm not planning anything for you to do amazing in the evenings, because usually you're quite exhausted and tired, and everyone has their own preferences. Or your food is catered for, or your milks, that everybody wants different milks, your gluten-free and your lactose-free and all that. I've covered all that. That's all good. You can have cups and tea, access to the kitchen anytime you like. But if you need some, you know, inspiration, we call that. I used to call that at home, my wine rack is called the Margaret Olley rack. So I don't know if you know who Margaret Olley is. She's a very famous, wonderful, talented still life painter, and she used to drink a lot. So have a glass of Margaret Olley if you want to bring it. And if you have white wine, there's a fridge there, you can put it all in. Art equipment. Let's talk about art equipment. As you know, we're using acrylics. It seems like everybody's used acrylics before, but it doesn't really matter what you come with. The only thing I will say is that when you have your acrylics, if you get your cheapy ones from, you know, the Montmartre, you know, paints, there'll be a difference on the label that says student or professional, and the professional ones are always more expensive. So for example, this is the I Like Matisse, because they're Australian made, but on the label it will say professional. So those ones have a better color and they'll last a bit longer, and you'll be able to do more with them rather than the student ones. However, saying the student ones, when we're blocking in background colors and things like that, by all means, just use your student ones. You know, if we're not going to see it that much anyway. But you are artists and you are creative. If you're joining this class, you're already good problem solvers. You know, we don't have to know what we want. We want to enjoy that we don't know, and that's really, really challenging. So, if we're problem makers, aren't we? Like, isn't it every painting you make, you cause yourself a problem and then you have to solve it? So the same with the paints, you know. So that's what we'll learn, and I'm going to talk a lot about mixing color and colors and things like that. So hopefully I can stretch you with that. As far as organization goes, a couple of the things that I when we travel, and we go with our paintings. It's hard, isn't it? If any of you have ever bought a lovely French easel, or someone's given you that for your birthday or Christmas, it looks fabulous, all wrapped up and folded up, and it's gorgeous. And then you put your paints in and you can't lift it off the ground, right? So you've got to come up with some ways that are easy for you to manage. Or I get a lot of people come with their big bucket of paints and they can never find the colours. It's in here somewhere, right? So my suggestion to you is, before you come, is it maybe that you sort them into, I'm a big fan of Ziploc bags, sort them into a bunch of yellows, bunch of reds and all that kind of thing, and it's really easy for you to get. One of the things, and, forgive me for the people who know me, I'm a big fan of these. Now, these are your, this is the best way to carry your paints. It is, wrong way. It is a makeup bag from Kmart, okay? And it's one of those shower, the toiletry bags, right? So it's a zip, and you can hang it on things like the bottom of your easel, and it's clear. And it's not heavy, because once you put your paints in there, they'll be heavy. We are not trekking out on the top of a mountain, with all our gear. We're basically taking the gear we want to use and walking across the car park. Okay, so it's not really that much of a problem, but the whole makeup bag is great. And then when it gets really gungy, you just chuck it and buy another one. The important thing is it's clear inside, right? And it's also about half or a third of the price of any fancy art package you're going to get. Okay, so that's your paints. Brushes. So again, it doesn't really matter what brushes you like. Flat brushes, a brush with a flat edge will give you a rough painterly look, and a brush with a round edge will make you tidy up things. So if you're someone who wants to loosen up their work, don't get your rounded edge brush. Sorry, I have to come over here to the painting. Rounded edge brush, right? Synthetic brushes will also make you be tidier as well. You want a square flat edge, bristle, rough, all right? I'll even make you use some sticks when we're out there. That's going to freak you out, isn't it? No, it'll be all right. It'll be fine. We can blame the sticks if it doesn't work. All right, so I don't mind what brushes you wear. Don't go out and spend millions on brushes. Like, just use the brushes you got, share your own, make sure you put your name on them or mark them, because, someone might like your brush. And bring the brushes. Again, things to carry your brushes in. Important things is, don't put them in a bag and then put them in the corner and they'll bend, because you ruined your brushes. These things are really quite good. They're a wallet, and you can pick them up at the discount shops now, and it folds up and it holds all your brushes. And again, it's really light, and it also can fold down like this and be a little stand if you want. But really, the only thing that I find the most annoying is, when you put all your brushes in a jar and they all roll together and all your paints stick onto each other. It doesn't really matter what you use, just usability. With all this stuff, I just keep it always in here, and it's my go out pack. What else are we doing? We're doing paper. So we're doing paper and things like that. So again, cartridge paper. If you ask me at any time, should I do it this small or this small, I'll always go bigger, okay? Because that's how you can get free, all right? If you don't like it, paint over the top of it, right? You just don't worry about too much with that. We got to loosen up a little bit. So I had on the list cartridge paper. Again, I don't mind what kind, cartridge paper you bring. If you already know, it's just going to be for sketches and working out things. It's not going to be your masterpiece, right? Depending on what you're going to get, I'm going to have these foam boards for you, okay? These are foam core boards, and you will have collapsible easels, metal easels that you can use at the table or full height. And what I do is I use the canvas sheets when I'm traveling. Again, because we're not traveling really that much, we're not really traveling at all once we get there. If you want to use stretch canvas and you've got some cheap ones, do that. Just go bigger and better if you can. But these ones I had on the list. Again, it doesn't really matter what brand, but Frederick's is a common brand, and it comes in a pad, and it's pre-gessoed, right? So it's a canvas sheet, and it's pre-gessoed, but I tend to always do another layer of gesso over that, just so your paint will stick a bit better. And again, do it before you come, so you're not wasting time with that. Okay, so then bring some masking tape or painter's tape. You can buy fancy art tape, but you know the painter's stuff at Bunnings, you know. And I tape this to the board. So this is a foam core board. This is a half started painting, right? And then what I do is I tape a bunch of those sheets to the board, and then when I've done with that, I'll just move it on. Also, I'll tape it and stick it up on the wall and then get on with the next one. So this is, you know, and this is the size of the canvas. And I forget, it's a 30 by 40 canvas. If you get it stretched, you know, if you want to get it stretched later on or something like that. Oh, I've got a secret little bit hiding behind there. Anyway, these are the ones that are easy to get around, and I'll give you each one of these to use when we're there. Okay, so you don't need to buy the board. You just need to buy your canvas. If you don't want to use canvas, the other option is you can buy this canvas paper. Okay. It's a little bit cheaper, but again, a lot of professional artists will use this when they're traveling, and it's got the texture on it, not that you can see this here, of a like linen. Okay. And again, you just gesso that, and it's thick, and it will like serve, it won't have any stretch in it, but it will be quite fine for you painting. It's like 300 GSM as it is now, and it's a cheaper option. Again, gesso it before you come, won't be wasted. And then this one's like an A2 size, and then you can use it that big, or you can cut it down. Alternatively, you can use watercolor paper if you want, and then you gesso just a layer of gesso. Does everybody know what I mean by gesso? Is everybody cool with that? Like, gesso is just the cheap white version of paint, and it's putting a ground down. It's what we call a ground, because you want your paint to stick to stuff. You know, if you get the cheaper canvases, it sort of soaks through. So you want some surface for it to stick onto. If you were a really traditional oil painter, you know, you're painting hardcore streeting, right? A lot of those guys put gesso with a bit of texture in it for the paint to bite it really quickly, like a rougher surface. And some of the guys still do it. They put chalking white into their gesso to give it like a more of a rough surface. But remember, chalking white soaks up paint, so it'll have a different effect. Anyway, they are your surfaces. What else did I say? Yeah, that's it. Pens, waterproof pens are a nice idea when you're sketching. It also helps you loosen up. And I think I've got on the list, these ones are the ones, they're like a felt tip pen, but I just got them from Officeworks. And why they've got different nibs, right? Now, this is really good. Again, if you're trying to loosen up, don't use a pencil. Just go in with that pen, because you can't undo it. You have to do something with it, okay? Or someone else coming in. So they're only like $15, but waterproof's good, because what it means is you can put like a wash of acrylic or watercolor down, let that dry, and then go over the top with this, and these will not bleed, okay? They're one of my staples when I travel overseas. What else are we going to talk about? Lead pencils are just for sketching. Charcoal, willow sticks, not compressed. So willow sticks are like light stick. Compressed is beautiful for drawing beautiful charcoal drawings, because it's really heavy and black, but we'll only be using it for sketching up and getting ideas. Waterproof pens, I talk. Disposable palette. So again, I don't know, people use different palettes, but you can use a plastic plate, although, you know, you can't get plastic plates anymore. We're saving the planet, and there are no plastic plates to be found. I think I got the last 50 in Temora. That's it. There's no plastic plates. So whatever you use, you can use a number of palettes. When I travel, I'll use just a disposable palette. Again, it's light, and then you just chuck it out, because I'm not a fan of cleaning. So disposable palettes, you can pick these up. This one's a bit bigger. I find those little, you know, the $2 shop ones, you can't put enough paint. We'll talk about how you organize your palette when we get there, because everyone ends up covering it all over and there's nowhere to paint. So we will talk about that. And then you can just chuck it away when you're done. Alternatively, you can use a plastic, like if we're using acrylic, one of the things is you can even use just like a plastic lid and put your paint on that let it dry, stick it in water like in a sink, and it will peel off. Acrylic is a plastic. But one of my favorite things, we're only painting for a few days, so it doesn't matter. But if we were painting for a week, this is what we call a wet palette. And a wet palette, this is a fancy one I bought overseas cheaper, is you can basically get a Tupperware container. And it's got a lid. It's something that's got a lid that's not too high, like not too high in the separates there. And then these are proper palette pieces of paper, or you can get baking paper, like cooking baking paper. Oh. And then what you do is you get a bit of sponge. Again, this is a fancy sponge, bit of chucks. So you've got your chucks, little tray, any tray. Bit of a chucks, as in the thicker Wet-X ones, not the blue and white ones. You soak this with a bit of water, put the water in there. Then you put your disposable palette or your baking paper over there, and whatever paint you put down, that might even last you a week. It won't dry out, okay? It's very good, and I can show you again about that. But anyway, just use disposable palette for what we're doing. All right, other things, spray bottle, right? Any kind of spray bottle. We're just going to put water in it. I think I've got that on there. This is to loosen you up. Water buckets. Don't just bring a cup and your brush will fall out. Get something that's bigger. You can just get a yogurt container or something like that. But one of the things that I like to use is this when I'm traveling. So it's flattens down. Oh, sorry, I keep going the wrong way. Sorry, it flattens down. The thing is, you want to have something where you can put your brush in and let it sit there rather than it rolling off and all of that stuff, because all this gets in the way of your creating, right? So these are, I think they're only like $5. If anyone wanted to buy something from Art Scene, which is the shop, and you can buy all of it online in Ryde. It's in Ryde in Sydney. And let me know. I can pick it up and bring it with me in my van. Okay, so just contact me individually if you really want me to bring some things, because they're fantastic. Okay. What else to do? Oh, I talked about on the painting open medium, right? Now, this is a Matisse brand. And the reason you don't have to use this, but if you use water to loosen up your paint, the water in acrylic paint will break down the color, which might be what you want. It's a wash. But this breaks down the color, but it doesn't break down the pigment, and it keeps it open, as in it keeps it wet. So one of the problems, there's two major problems that we have with acrylic. They're problems and bonuses, is that it dries quick, which is why this keeps it wet. And two, it dries darker. So acrylic paint usually shrinks by about 20%, and it dries about 20% darker, which is the annoying thing if you've already got paint and then you try and make the same color. But this solves this, okay? What else? I think I've done all the equipment. Brushes? Will you talk about brushes? Does anyone need to know anything about brushes? I've got a range of brushes on the equipment list. I think that's all there. Again, use whatever brushes. And again, you don't have to use my brushes. Use whatever works for you. That's okay. I think that's everything. And the other thing that I would like to ask everyone to do, because we live in a COVID world, can everyone do a rat test for me before you come? If you could do a rat test, take a photo of your negative. Sorry, it's not good to be positive anymore. So weird. What a world we live in. If you could do that for me, and that was thanks to Kathleen. She reminded me that, and I think that would make us all feel safer, right? Like, we don't want any weird things, and it sucks if you get it, and I've had it, and hopefully that's all out of the way. And there's lots of space. Trust me, guys, like, there's heaps of space. You're not going to be on top of each other in anywhere we're at. Everything's quite open, so please don't worry about any of that. We got the whole place to ourselves. And if you feel really, really bad, there's a church. We're at the convent, right? You can go in the church and do your thing. I think that's everything that I need to tell everyone. Has anyone got any questions that they would like to ask me about the retreat? Silence. Yes, Debbie.
Do we need to bring any paint drop sheets or plastic cloth for?
I am putting a plastic. Good question. Thank you. You're going to have a table each. You'll have a plastic tablecloth over that, and I will have drop sheets on the floor because we are on a carpeted floor and they're waterproof. But if you wanted to chuck, you know, the good old party tablecloth in, if you wanted to go outside and set some stuff up, then by all means, but in the room, you're covered. Again, sometimes people want to go back to their room and do some work, you know, or not. You might want to put that down because the bedrooms have got carpet in, and the room that we're in, unfortunately, has carpet. But yeah, that's a great idea. But I should have you covered. I'm pretty sure. It's only if you want to stretch out and you would like your own, like there's a whole big room if you feel like you want to break out. Yeah, Debbie, I'm going to make you break out. Yeah. I've seen what you can do. I'll make you break out.
Another question. So you said that we only had to carry the paints from the car to the building.
Yes.
So there won't be any plein air painting where we have to.
Absolutely. Yeah. But you have a studio space in there. Every day you're going out. We're in the grounds, like it's massive ground. So we're in the garden, we're on a hill and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah. Like you can walk right down to the pub if you really want, you know, depending on how it's going. But yes, and I understand too, some people might have things where they can't stand up for very long or they need to sit down, all of that kind of stuff. So there's always a bathroom close to you, and mostly it'll be outdoor as much as you want it to be. Okay, I will take you out there. And because we're dependent on the weather, I suppose, too. But there is absolutely, that's why we go on an art retreat. So just to differentiate between an art retreat and a workshop that I might do, a workshop I can teach you in a room. I can teach you with a theme and a project, and I can teach you in a room. But an art retreat is about you immersing yourself in the location. You know, why you travel is that you can't get those colors or see those things anywhere else. It doesn't cut it just watching a video. And we don't know what we're going to see and what apparently there's cows in the backyard, or who knows. There's some amazing wildlife out there. In the morning when I was there, the bird life is magnificent, apart from the guy across the road with his motorbike. But you know, apart from that, there's lots of like things happening. And in my experience of when you go and I travel overseas, I love just sitting in a spot, you know, in the morning and watching what happens. And my perception of that place will be made by that. And I hope that you guys all get your own stories, and that's what we're going to do. So yes, plein air out there as much as you want to do it, but you can basically, you know, you have the portable easels and the board to go out there, and that's really, really light. And also my husband's coming, so we have a servant, if you like, that can help you carry your stuff. You know, you might be a bit slow, but you know, you'll get there anyway. You know, so there's lots of things, and you know, if you want to, so I'm going to be showing you videos as well. So we have an audio visual room as well. So a lot of the retreats that I do, I'll prep you up with some videos and inspiration, because you can't just think of an idea. Well, maybe you can. I could be wrong. But I think that, you know, you need a little bit of inspiration and a couple of ways to do things, you know. So don't want any gifted and talented people coming along. Thanks. Okay. Leave them for the rest. You know, you're going to make your own creative things. Let's take the pressure off. You know, it's not a competition. Get some bad paintings out of the way before we do some good ones and all of that kind of stuff. But hopefully you'll have fun and it will help you break loose, or it will just help you get started with your painting. There's a lot of different people with a lot of different levels of how long and much they've painted. But isn't that exciting? I think that that's really good. And so, yeah, within the next week, I will send you out a how to get there along the way. I'm going to be there the day before. So if there's anything, just give me a call and we can sort anything out for you. If you need any help in getting your stuff to the room, all of that. It's very easy. It's flat. And it's basically 2 roads you travel down. There's a beautiful road that you get down from when you turn off to Bathurst to go there, and it feels like you're in Van Gogh country. And it will look like that because all the poplars will hopefully be all green and things like that, just like your lovely painting that you've got in the background there, Debbie. Yeah. So does that answer that? Yes, that all questions answered? Okay, anyone else with other questions? Anything you're worried about? Anything No, are we just a bit excited and hope that no lockdowns happen before we get there? Yes. And everyone's fine. I'm guessing everyone's driving. Yeah. So it's a nice, easy drive. I always want to take photos on the way down from, to Lithgow, and you can't because of that big, beautiful cliff, Oh, so good. Anyway, hopefully the weather's really good. The lady that runs it, Mary Murphy, in the afternoon after lunch, once we've checked in, we will be given a little tour. Why this place is good? Because it's actually based on creativity. And the man who started it, Tennyson Woods, was actually a natural scientist, and that's the bit that I'm absolutely fascinated with. He got the Clarkson Award, and the Clarkson Award was the award from Reverend Clark, who came out in around the First Fleet and wrote letters to Charles Darwin, and it was all about the wonderful creatures in Australia. And we're going to get to see some of his drawings and things like that. So that investigating things that you find when you land at a place and wondering what it's about is part of what makes this retreat pretty exciting. I think hopefully I am going to be on my mission to try and turn this into an art residency location, which is where you do international residencies, because it's really built for that. So I will be asking for your feedback. I'll give you a questionnaire at the end and say what worked for you, what didn't work for you, and all of that kind of stuff, because I can't make it better if I don't know. So hopefully, yeah, it's a pretty interesting place. And yeah, it'll be really great for people to get creating, and even if it means just getting away from where you are now, and having a break, because often there's too many interruptions, isn't there? There's too many responsibilities of everything that you should do, and poor old painting gets left at the bottom, doesn't it? I'll get to that. And then you feel, I don't know if anyone has felt like this, but I think especially in the last 3 months, everybody's really, really exhausted, and they're sad, and they're a little bit mad about not creating, and they're exhausted and tired, and they feel sad because they know that they had more enthusiasm for their art, and you just don't have it in the tank anymore, right? So hopefully the retreat will give you something to put in the tank so that you can get back and keep creating, and make some friendships too, hopefully. I mentioned the Facebook group. The Facebook group is absolutely available for anyone to put any of their work up, or if they have a show that they think is cool, or anything like that. It's a creative space that is designed to be supportive. And in saying that, I think what happens is our self-talk is pretty crappy, especially when we create. And the things that you say to yourself about your artwork, you would never say to the person next to you painting, would you? So we are going to practice that, and practice with our positive talk, and practice being a communicative, creative group, in the fact where we can talk about ideas and what people are trying to do, rather than does it match the bedspread, and do you like bluebirds? We can do better. And I know the people that I've already painted with, I know that it's in you, and it's my job to bring that out and start you creating and talking like that. For some of the people that I teach, and for people like Debbie and mentoring, there's not many people that you can talk about that with. It's really hard because they don't understand. What happens is, you love painting, don't you? And then you go into your room and you paint, and then you come out and you're cranky and you're upset, and it causes you trauma. And the people around you go like, why do you do that? It's meant to, because it makes me happy. And you don't understand our quest. So hopefully we can kickstart all of those things off. And it's really fun to see how other people do things. We all do things differently. I don't want any normal. Okay, can you leave all the normal stuff at home? Thanks. Don't give me normal. That's too boring. Let everyone else be normal. Okay. And with that, I think I've covered everything. Is everyone happy and feeling confident about that? Thank you for all paying so beautifully on time. That really makes my life so much easier, so I can go and pay the cook and everybody else. So that's really, really great. I really appreciate that. And hopefully everyone got their receipts and things like that. I think we're done. We're done. Does everyone feel confident, happy, and looking forward to it? Yay!
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you.
Excellent. I'm so excited and looking forward to meeting you all. And the first day is just getting into it. What I find too on the first day is that everybody's pretty exhausted by the end of the day because you had to pack your stuff, you had to get out of the house, you had to make sure someone was fed or the dog was looked after and all of that stuff. And you've come a long way. So that's why I thought the gallery visit is better in the day. So you can just absorb. And then I will be giving you colour art talks just before dinner while we have drinks and nibblies. And you can just chill out. And by all means, you can always draw and paint whenever you want. You know, if you feel like you want to go down the road and that's what you want to do, then I will totally be for that. You go off and do that, okay? Anyway, enough talking. I hope I've covered everyone. I'm really looking forward to meeting you all. Any problems, any questions, any issues in getting equipment, please let me know and I can help you out with that. If you need me to go and get some equipment or you're not quite sure, I'm happy to help you with that and bring it. I've got a little van so I can stack extra things in there. Okay. Look forward to seeing you on the 23rd. Does that sound great with everyone? All right. Have a lovely weekend, everyone. Start pulling out that now. And just pulling out your equipment, you're doing art stuff, okay? Just sorting that out. That's part of the process. We think that we always have to be producing, but pulling out your equipment, you might find some paints or things that you haven't used before. Put them in anyway. Stick in stuff you don't know what to do with, and I'll help you with a few options, okay? All right. Love you, leave you, and I will talk to you soon, guys. See you in Perthville. Bye-bye.
Bye.